I'm Dan Souza. Today I'm joined by my longtime friend and colleague, Bryan Roof, and we are in the test kitchen. Bryan, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's nice to talk to you with a table between us and some microphones for a change.
A little bit of protection.
A little bit of protection. I've known you for such a long time. We've worked together for, I would guess, maybe like 14 or 15 years.
Like 15 years, yeah.
15 years. I've learned a ton from you in the test kitchen.
Likewise.
But you are known so much for your work outside the test kitchen as well. So you are a culinary traveler. You're the host of a show on the road and segments that you see on Cook's Country TV. You're a longtime cast member of that TV show. And I want to dive right into some of your travels and experience out there, because you basically have just traveled all over the country, and I guess even beyond the country. You've gone outside our borders a little bit, but you go out and you find fascinating stories and incredible recipes. You bring them back to the test kitchen, and then you provide them to our subscribers on the ATK app, on americastestkitchen.com, and you've honed the skill over time. So I'm super curious, out of this catalog of recipes you've done, what is up on the app right now that is like a recipe that is near and dear to your heart? And then I'd love to hear the story behind it.
You know, I would say it's a lot to unpack there. It's so many.
Are you like super cut through your entire career? You're like, whoa, where do I go?
So one of the recipes I really liked, I was born in the Philippines, so I've always had this affinity for Filipino food. When I was in the Bay Area, California, San Francisco Bay, in Oakland, I met up with these two guys, Jan and Bobby, who were doing like a Filipino pop-up. And they did this dish called sisig, which is traditionally made with like a pig head, pig ear, pig snout. You grill it, you chop it up, you mix it with onions, all kinds of things, spicy peppers, calamansi, and you put it on a hot sizzle platter, and you serve it. It's like it comes out sizzling, and you crack an egg on top of it. And it's like this amazing bar food. So part of their pop-up and appealing to like a new, like younger audience, they subbed out the pig's head, which is probably hard to get, and it's a little bit of work to prep that, with pork butt and pork belly. So, slice it, marinate it, grill it, chop it, mix it in with all your chilies and onions and calamansi or lemon juice. And my mouth is watering just talking about it.
I know, it sounds so good.
Get this cast iron skillet just ripping hot, and you drop it in there, and it kind of fries up. You make a little wells for the eggs, sprinkle a little bit more onions, and that is one of those dishes that I experiment with. I use different cuts of pork, sometimes 100% pork belly, sometimes keep it a little bit leaner with pork butt. But
so it's this mix of like, those are pretty fatty cuts. Yeah. So you've got this like intense fattiness. Calamansi is one of my favorite citrus. I mean, it's like so bright and acidic, like ounce for ounce. It seems like much more than lemon or lime juice. Yeah. And so you've got that balance of like, it sounds like crispy and rich, and then acidic, and spicy all into one. Wow, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, and it's typically known as a bar food, and came about in the Philippines because the Air Force Base in Manila, and I think Angeles City, the Philippines, they were throwing away those cuts of meat, the head and the tail, the parts that they didn't typically serve on the base. So there was all this essentially free meat out in town. So the sisig queen, I think they called her, started making this dish, and kind of it just took off from there.
And how do you spell it?
S-I-S-I-G.
S-I-S-I-G.
Yeah.
So you've got that recipe up on the app there, and it's with both pork belly and pork butt.
Yeah.
But it's like really flexible. You can sort of sub some in.
I always I play around with it. Whatever cuts of meat I have at the house. I mean, I've done it with chicken, just messing around, and but it's just the combination of flavors. It's so bright and intense, and you have it with drinks out on the porch.
And what's the reaction when people, it sounds like you are bringing it out in a sizzling cast iron skillet, throwing it on the porch, like with some wine and stuff like that. What's the reaction you get from people who haven't had it before?
It's just like you're sitting in a Tex-Mex restaurant, and you see fajitas go by, sizzling. And that's exactly the kind of reaction. Everybody's head turns and like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
And it's just like people are first stunned. They don't know how to approach it. And then you break the egg yolk, stir it all in, and just start serving it up.
That's so good.
It's so good, man.
That sounds amazing. So one of the things that we often find with our subscribers on the app is people want to know like what to pair things with, right? Like they found this great recipe and they want to make it, and they're like, well, what does it go with? And so we do a lot of work to explain, this is really good with like this steamed vegetable or this rice. So for this dish, what would you serve it with? Like what other recipes do we have that you think would be a good pair?
I'd serve this with garlic fried rice. Another Filipino recipe. It's just basically, fried rice, but you just start off with oil in the pan, a lot of finely chopped garlic. Once it gets brown, you add the rice, toss it together, a little salt, and you're done.
Sounds really good.
And like some kind of like a steamed vegetable. I like steamed bok choy or something, but with a little bit of saltiness, maybe tossed in a little soy or soy steamed bok choy, I think would go really well. So you get a little bit of crunch, a little salty, to pair with it.
So that sounds like about the meatiest dish I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. This is also like prime time of year for like farmers markets and great produce. Do you have a go-to like favorite kind of vegetable forward dish to make right now?
Not necessarily vegetable, but peach and burrata salad with a little bit of torn prosciutto on top and just a drizzle of olive oil. It's so good, man.
That sounds so good.
It's just like a great combination of ultra sweet, perfectly ripe peaches, that kind of milky burrata, salty ham. Yeah.
It's so interesting to me how tomatoes and peaches are like grow at the same time, get great. You have good peach and tomato years. They're either both good or both bad.
Yeah.
And then they pair so well together. Like that.
Yeah,
like
we also have that
textures.
salad with tomato and peaches on the website as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I love that combination. That sounds so good.
Yeah. I pretty much reserve eating tomatoes and peaches all year long until like these
Same.
months,
Yeah.
And then I just go crazy with it until I get sick of it
Yeah.
for like 2 months.
And they're both like you can eat them over the sink and like all the juices running kind of
I
fruits.
eat everything over the sink anyway.
You do?
So, yeah. Or a trash can or something.
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. That's why I want to eat it.
The trash can part? Or?
Yeah, exactly. That sounds awesome. So if you want to get either of those recipes, anything we talk about on the show today, head to americastestkitchen.com or the America's Test Kitchen app. And you can find them, comment, share. It's a really great place to cook. And Bryan has a ton of great recipes on there. So Bryan, I always want to know your menu. I always want to know what you're cooking. But we have a really special guest today that I think we both have sort of a kindred spirit to, but in different ways.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to bring him out. So our guest today is a writer, a BBQ Hall of Famer. He runs AmazingRibs.com, which is the top website for grilling and barbecue. His latest book is The Meathead Method. Please join me in welcoming Meathead. Meathead, welcome to the Test Kitchen.
Wow, I feel like I have come to nirvana. I've seen this place a billion times on television. What a thrill to actually be here and take the tour. What a cool place this is.
Yeah, I feel like this is sort of ground central. This is like we're kindred spirits in a lot of ways in terms of our approach to food and being super methodical, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I feel like the Test Kitchen, it's indoors, so it's not outdoor cooking, but in some ways probably feels like a good central place for you.
Oh, I watch you and I feel like we're brothers by different mothers.
Yeah, I love that. Well, maybe we can trace our lineage back. We'll get into that. Before we do so, I really like to pour tea for each of my guests on the show. And I try to choose a tea based on what I know about my guest. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. So I know you have this really fascinating backstory that we think of you in barbecue and outdoor cooking, but you also have this incredible wine life that happened before that. So I know you have a very acute palate and that you're very good at tasting kind of complexity and things. So I chose a very complex tea today. That I hope you'll really enjoy. So
you're going to make me describe it?
I'm going to ask for some tasting notes. You don't have to pick it out of a lineup, but I'm going to pour some into these little little tiny cups here, and I'll pass you one here. So this is a raw pu'er tea.
A raw what tea?
Pu'er.
Pu'er.
So there are two kinds of pu'er tea, but pu'er tea is really, really fascinating. It is basically you make a green tea, and then you pack it into a brick and you let it ferment and age. It's the only truly fermented tea. Other teas are oxidized, but this actually goes through fermentation. And it can last for years and years and years.
Is this a bacterial fermentation or a yeast fermentation?
There's some of both going on. So it's very, very complex.
Well, I'm smelling green tea. I mean, absolutely, that's the dominant. I mean, I was telling you earlier, I first fell in love with tea in a trip to Japan. And green tea over there is a very different animal. I mean, it's opaque. It's
like
dark,
super
green.
savory. Yeah,
but it's gorgeous.
So the green tea, totally. So you start with the green tea, and then during that fermentation process, you also pick up a lot of black tea qualities.
Wow.
So some of that astringency.
Really astringent, high tannin.
High tannin, yep.
Very high, higher tannin than most any tea I've ever tasted.
And then it's got this super long finish too. Yeah. So it's got like a lot of those malty sort of flavors you might expect from like coffee or something like that. But then this really long finish, which I really love.
Very tactile too. That tannin, that astringency. It's like licking a dusty windowsill. It's just really there.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very strong. So if you were to put this in wine terms, what would you compare this to?
Oh, dear. Well, it'd be very young red because of all the high tannin. I mean, young reds, tannin comes from the skin of the grapes and so a little bit from the seeds. But young reds are very high in tannin, and as they age, the tannin oxidizes and precipitates out, and that's what all the precipitate at the bottom of the bottle is.
And they
So
sort of
this
get-
reminds
softer.
me perhaps of a very young Syrah or a Petite Syrah because it's got that high tannin. But the flavors are not at all like that. It's very delicate, actually. It's really kind of disjointed in that sense, in that it really is an elegant string quartet aroma, but it's more of a brass band aftertaste.
I love that. That's a great description. So the kind of force fermented pu'ers are actually like much more intense on the palate too. So they add moisture and they kind of force that fermentation to happen faster. And those take a totally different direction. So the raw ones are super elegant, where it's like you have the aroma and then the long finish, but they're much more delicate.
Well, put me down in favor of anything that's fermented.
Awesome. Yeah, I figured that.
Where's it from?
So this is from China. I think this is from Yunnan province. Yeah.
Delightful.
Delightful. Well, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Brian, did you like it?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convert as many coffee drinkers to tea drinkers. So
I am a coffee drinker.
my own little mission. But Meathead, it is seriously so awesome to have you here. I've followed your work for such a long time, whether on AmazingRibs.com, which I think is 2005 when you started that.
I did. You have a very good memory.
Yeah. And I mean, it is like the foremost authority on everything outdoor cooking, essentially, grilling and barbecue.
Thank you.
And your work with Dr. Greg Blonder, who I've met and love. He's at Boston University, an amazing scientist. And the combination of your passion and excitement around grilling and barbecue and his science comes together. I mean, you've just done such amazing work over there and reported on it. And now you have an incredible new book called The Meathead Method, a follow-up to your first book here. I want to dig super deep into it. I want to start with this line. I think this may be the first line of the entire book, where you talk about the most destructive power on earth became the most constructive power on earth,
Fire.
which is really, really beautiful sort of way of explaining it. And like, can you talk about that and how you got connected to fire and cooking?
Well, I mean, I've been grilling all my life. My dad loved to grill, and he would take me out back, and I would watch. His specialty was flank steak, and I loved the smell of grilling, particularly beef. And he might have let me have a sip of beer along the way. I
always
was 10
helps.
years old, and so of course grilling, and of course. At the core of grilling and barbecue and smoking is fire. And so as I'm, writing the book, I try to be a good writer. I had to start with fire. And my books, both of them, are divided in half. The first half is a bit of a textbook with a lot of, geeky science like you like. The art world has all these movements, the Impressionists, the Fauvists, the Modernists. The culinary world, I think we're in an era where we're all the nerdists, perhaps the modernists, if you will. But you and I are among the nerdists. Alton Brown, who wrote the foreword to my new book, Kenji Lopez-Alt, Harold McGee, of course, our godfather.
Yep.
This is 2025. People want to know why things happen when you cook them. Not when you give them a recipe, they don't want to just shut up and do step one and do step two and do step three. They want to know, why do I do step one and what happens if I skip step two? So I had to start with the science of fire and smoke. And then I got into the nature of the different foods. What is meat? What's in there? What is, protein and amino acids and fats and the ratios and how they react
It's
to
awesome.
the energy. We speak of heat, but it's really energy that we should be thinking of. And the impact of energy on those components, and then also vegetables, carbohydrates. So the first half of the book's a bit of a science book. The second half of the book are the recipes that apply the science.
Yeah, I think that's why, it definitely speaks to me. It's so interesting because we are always focused on the how and the why. Like, that's what we always love to teach. And that's why I think our brands are so sort of aligned. But you chose a topic that I'm sure, Brian, you experienced this out on the road eating barbecue, that has the most possible myth and lore around it.
Yeah.
To make good barbecue, grilling as well, it's like, I I think you mentioned maybe here in another interview, like old husbands rules. Like it's like, and they stick around for such a long time. I know you see yourself as kind of a culinary mythbuster. We do a lot of same here. So I'm curious, I want to dive right into that. And, within the book, I saw one that was really surprising to me. It was a myth that you claimed that you busted. And so most people know this rule. When you're grilling a burger and you have your spatula out on the grill, most people nowadays know not to like press on it, right? You squeeze out the juices. I think that was sort of back in the day, that was a myth that was busted. Like, hey, don't press on it. It might sound good and all this kind of stuff, but like, don't do it. But you've actually come around to the other side of it. Can you explain your take on that?
I noticed that when I was cooking steaks or burgers, and I'm not the first to notice this, that the drippings which hit the fire are vaporized and they come back up and they land on the food and they give it flavor. And so I started experimenting with busting the myth of pressing on the burger with the spatula. And it did. It improved the flavor, but it also turned it into a hockey puck, which is why you're told not to do it.
Right. It pushes actual juices and fat out. And
so what's the obvious solution? I'm no genius.
Yeah.
Go to a 70-30 blend.
More fat.
When you add more fat. I mean, look, burgers are not diet food. So, and you're not eating them every night, you know? I mean, so you go to a 70-30 blend, you can press down on it, and if some of the juices come out, and with those juices comes some fat, and maybe some of your spices and stuff, and it hits the fire, comes back up, flavors it, you still have a lot of juice and fat left in the burger.
Sure.
It's a little crumblier, but you can do it, and you get a more flavorful burger.
Yeah. No, I think it's super smart. That is one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about grilling is that so much of the flavor is juices dripping down and causing basically these tiny flare-ups. Because we learn about flare-ups early on. It's like you want to avoid them. And it's true, if you get gushing fat coming down and these massive flare-ups, you'll get sooty food. It's not good. But a little bit of that is actually grill flavor. Charcoal does it so well because the coals are sitting right underneath. When you have a gas grill, you have these sort of flavor bars, if you will, right? Where that's where it hits, vaporizes, and goes back up. So I think even that lesson is a really good one for anyone.
Well, when I first started grilling, I always had a little water gun by my side because you didn't want these flare-ups.
Yeah.
Well, and you hit on it. Some flare-ups produce a lot of soot.
Yep.
You don't want the soot on your chicken or on your burgers. But some of it can be very nice. And a great deal of the flavor of grilling and smoking are the combustion gases, the byproduct of combustion. You mentioned charcoal and gas. There's a great deal of misunderstanding about the difference. Can I talk a little bit about the myth surrounding charcoal grills?
I would love it if you would.
Well, there's this two-sided argument, and both sides are adamant, and particularly the charcoal people. They all say charcoal has more flavor than gas, and it's not entirely true. The big difference is that charcoal produces more infrared radiation. I talked earlier, I said you got to think of it in terms of energy.
Right.
There's three types of energy on a grill. There's conduction airflow, warm air circulating around. There's a convection airflow, I should say. Conduction, the meat sitting on the hot metal, which scars it, creates grill marks. And then there's infrared radiation. And you get infrared radiation, it's really important to cooking outdoors. You get it when you put food directly over flame or glowing coals. And charcoal produces a ton of it.
So much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most gas grills do not. Now, you can get gas grills that produce a lot of infrared radiation, and that's what all the steakhouses use. You know, all these charcoal guys say, oh, I would never cook a steak over gas. Well, you go to Morton's or any of these places, they're all cooked over gas. It's just that they have these huge infrared burners. And I have a gas grill at home that has infrared burners, and I can cook a steak on it. You can't tell if it was charcoal or gas.
Because it's so hot.
Because it's so hot. And when you light charcoal, you see all this smoke going up, and you think that's smoke flavor. But if you notice, that smoke goes away after it's fully ignited. After the coals are all coated with ash, the smoke has gone away. That's the ignition combustion gases. Once they're coated with ash all over and they're fully ignited, you don't see any smoke.
Yeah.
Charcoal is for heat.
Yep.
Wood is for flavor.
What about the drips that you were talking about earlier? Is that flavored
those
differently?
drips hit the charcoal, and then they smoke and they come back up.
Yeah, but when you're actually on charcoal, it's burning very, very clean at that point. You're not
Absolutely.
picking up flavor.
Not producing.
Yeah.
It is producing a very little amount of flavor, but not a lot.
Yeah. Well, so I mentioned that you and I are kindred spirits, I think, on the very like sciencey, methodical side of things. But Bryan is here today because I think you guys are also kindred spirits in this like obsession with cooking outdoors. Bryan, I don't know how many grills you have in your backyard.
Just the 4 right now.
just the 4.
Not as many as you.
Don't ask me.
But I'm curious, Bryan, for you in terms of like you do so much travel around the country and experiencing it. Are there types of barbecue and grilling that you found just really fascinating and really different?
Yeah, we were talking briefly earlier about the Chicago style with the aquarium smokers, which are essentially brick pits with the logs underneath in the brick pit, and then a big glass box around them. And I was in one of these pits and watching. I was inside the pit. This is a deep interview here. I was watching them cook, and like they were using a garden hose to kind of extinguish and control the fire, and that created a lot of those bursts of smoke. Some good, some bad, maybe. I thought that was really fascinating. The pits in Kansas City, those brick pits a lot of them were built by one guy a long, long time ago. And like I'm always fascinated with Texas barbecue. I think to me is always, I'm from the Carolinas, but Texas barbecue to me is always hands down a winner.
Well, there are these distinctive regional styles, and he points out several of them. Kansas City, Texas, Chicago is absolutely one of them. But what we're also talking about before we went on air is the globalization of barbecue now. And it really upsets a lot of the old guard. But in Fort Worth, there's a barbecue joint where he's from Texas and she's from Ethiopia.
Oh, wow.
And the flavors appear in the food. And it's marvelous. It's surprising. It's delightful. Another place in south of Atlanta where she's from Korea, he's from the South. And again, Korean flavors and gochujang and stuff appear in their rubs and seasonings. And I think this is what's happening now in barbecue. This is the new age of barbecue, that we're experimenting, that we're creative. And that's kind of what I tried to do in the Meathead method here, is bring some new flavors. There is gochujang in here. I've got Asian flavors and ingredients. I've tried in my first book, which was called Meathead, The Science of Great Barbecue and Grilling. It's a lot of science. And I had the classic barbecue canon. You got to have ribs, brisket, burgers, steaks, and stuff. A lot of the same proteins show up in here, but I've moved into different flavorings, different ingredients, different treatments, and different methods. And maybe we can talk about some of the fun methods that I've played with in there.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I think we also think about that here at the Test Kitchen a lot in terms of technique and flavors, and that brings you to recipes, right? But the technique is always so central to us. So we come up with something, and you actually mentioned in the book here, something you learned from Lon here at the Test Kitchen around mushrooms.
I watch her.
Yeah. Lon's the best, right?
No, she's my sister by a different mother. Yeah. And she's not here today, and I'm peeved about that.
Yeah, I know. She was really upset to miss it. But you talk about something from Cooks Illustrated and around mushrooms that spoke to you, and you actually put it in the book.
Yeah, she talked about par cooking them first in water.
Yeah.
And it was like, boom, wow. Yeah, what a great idea.
I know. So smart and like such a game changer, especially if you're grilling. You head, microwave them, and then you head out there and pick up all that awesome flavor.
Well, I've tried to, we were talking also earlier, forgive us folks for referencing things that happened before we went on air.
Well, bring them into the fold.
We were talking about, I go to restaurants a lot, and when I eat there, I taste food I really like. I say, maybe I can do this at home. Maybe I can do it on the grill and do it better, because just about anything you cook indoors, you can cook outdoors, only better. And here's a really good example, one of the Meathead methods here. Everybody loves Chinese food, and we all do stir fries at home. And most of us do it in a frying pan, but if we have a wok, we try it in a wok, and it's good, it's delicious. The flavors are just outstanding, but it's not quite the same as your neighborhood Chinese joint. And there's a reason. If you've ever been in a Chinese restaurant kitchen or watched it on YouTube, those guys are cooking on a volcano.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is
those wok burners?
Extremely hot. Well, I'm out in the backyard one day and I'm starting up my Weber kettle to grill up a couple of steaks. And I use a charcoal chimney to start charcoal. And if you're not familiar with it out there, it looks like a big coffee can. And you put some newspaper in the bottom and the charcoal on top. You light the newspaper and it ignites the charcoal. And then you dump it out and you can start cooking. Well, I've got this charcoal chimney firing up and it's around dusk and I'm fiddling around over here and I turn around and I look at the thing and there's this blue flame coming out of the top. It looks like the back end of an F-35.
Was there like a song in the background?
Yeah. The light bulb goes off. I ran inside and I took the steaks and started chopping them up.
Yeah.
And, I grabbed my wife. I said, let's get some veggies and we throw together a stir fry. And I throw them on this, I put a wok on top of the charcoal chimney.
Yep.
And it was incredible. The reason your stir fries at home don't always work out as good as the restaurant is when you throw the meat in the hot wok,
drops that temp,
it
right?
immediately gushes liquid. And instead of stir frying, you're braising.
Right.
And braised food tastes and steaming.
Yep.
And with this intense heat on top of the wok, now you really have come to this Chinese restaurant technique. You're stir frying, it's really hot, you're surrounding the meat with oils, and it's a whole new world.
It's such an awesome method. I know, like when we're talking about like BTUs on home stoves, people are relatively familiar with that. Like, this burner's like 20,000 BTUs, maybe this one's 30, the low one's maybe 10. When you're talking about those wok burners, you're like hundreds of thousands, 100,000, 200,000 BTU. Like there's no comparing them. And so it is really challenging, especially if you're cooking any large portion of food in a wok.
And this is a really interesting point. When you come to shopping for a grill, particularly a gas grill, they'll tell you how many BTUs. That's really misleading.
Yeah.
That's like how many gallons of gas your car holds. You want to know how many miles per gallon. BTUs are related to how many square feet and how far the flame is from the surface. So you could have a 30,000 BTU grill that actually gives you more infrared than a 60,000 BTU.
If it's concentrated into a small area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have at AmazingRibs.com a guy named Max Good. And Max's full-time job is testing grills and smokers. And no, he's not hiring.
Tough job.
But he includes a formula on the gas grills. You mentioned Professor Blonder, who teaches at Boston U. He helped us develop this formula for what is the actual energy calculation for these things. And so if you're shopping, go to our database and watch that number.
Yeah.
And
it can actually give you a real readout of what that thing's going to do.
Yeah.
So interesting, yeah.
Well, there's also a photo in here of you, I think, with like 4 charcoal chimneys in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're grilling the steaks on top of them. It's one of my favorite ways to grill steaks. And it gets at another point you make in the book around like grill marks versus actually getting like a whole sear across the steak.
Yes.
So if you're cooking the steaks, you, I think, have grill grates on there. I like to just skewer the steak and set the
I've seen your technique.
Yeah, set it right over there. And so there's no conductive heat. It's not metal on. It's pure IR. It's pure radiant heat. And you just get this incredible crust on there across the surface.
And it's perfect for the sous vide crowd.
Yes, yeah.
What he's describing is that same charcoal chimney that I'm using for the wok, if you put a grate on top or put skewers through the meat and put them right over the glowing coals, part of the efficiency here is, you see, when you do coals in a grill, you typically only have 1 layer of charcoal, maybe 2. But if you layer it deep, the deeper you're building energy, you have more BTUs or more energy. So 4 layers of charcoal is much more energy than 1 layer of charcoal. Now you've got this charcoal chimney, which is maybe 6-8 inches in diameter, and you've got like 5 or 6 layers of charcoal in there. It's only a small opening, but you've got enough room on there to do a ribeye. And you use a skewer and I put a metal grate on there. And by the way, we'll have to arm wrestle as to who invented this technique. I think I invented it. You guys came after. And Alton Brown is in that argument because he was doing it under the charcoal chimney.
Yes, I remember seeing that.
But I don't like that method because you get ash on the food. But,
Same.
But,
I played with that when I was figuring that out too. Yeah.
When
if you're a sous vide geek, I mean, sous vide is a marvelous technique, and you guys have written about it, and where you cook the food, let's say a ribeye steak in a plastic bag, and you evacuate the air and you put it in a tub of water with a heater, and it goes up to 130, 131, whatever, medium rare.
Like perfect all the way
perfect
through.
medium rare, and it can't go past. You can't overcook, and that, of course, is the bane of all barbecue cooks, is overcooking. It goes up to whatever temperature you set it to, and it can't go past. But when you take it out of the bag, it's butt ugly.
It doesn't look good, and it's very, very wet.
And
which is the enemy of good browning.
Right,
Yeah.
and there's no Maillard there. And Maillard is that chemical reaction of proteins and amino acids to energy, and they change, and you create this crust. The barbecue people call it the bark or whatever, the crust. And that's, full of flavor, loaded with flavor. So they take them out of the bag and they throw them in a cast iron pan or something. You got to pat it dry first, but you throw it in a cast iron pan. They do it, but you can throw them on top of a charcoal chimney.
Oh yeah,
and it's marvelous. And if you throw a piece of water or two in there, now you've got some smoke, and it really works well.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And also, it dries so fast when it's over that heat there. When going in the pan, you can trap some moisture and make quite as good of sear on there. So, Meathead, I like to do this sort of third segment of the show that I call the Ror-Snack Test. So it's not the Rorschach test. I'm not going to show you ink blots, but I am going to ask you some funny questions about food to help us psychoanalyze you a little bit more. Are you ready? You look terrified. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that as you're ready. Okay, so my first one is, what is your corn on the cob eating style? Are you a typewriter?
Yes.
Are you a log? Oh, you already know. You're a typewriter.
I'm a typewriter, although occasionally, particularly around the ends,
Yeah. You're a log runner.
Yeah. No, the real interesting question here, though, is how do you grill your corn on the cob? Because every time I share my recipe, I get hate mail.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, because there's the ones who do it in the husk.
Yeah.
The ones who soak the husks in sweet water. Mm-hmm. The ones who do it out of the husk. The ones who start it in the microwave. Everybody has their own technique, and sweet corn is such a beloved food.
So beloved. Yeah, and there's a million opinions about it.
So what's your method?
My method is I take a little olive oil, a little butter, melt them, and I throw tarragon in it, and I let it steep for a while so the tarragon will extract. And then I grill it, and I want it to start browning. Don't want to burn it. I like to see that caramelization. Yeah. And I paint it with this tarragon-flavored oil. Straight to heaven.
Sounds great. Yeah. We do something similar where we grill it with a little bit of oil and stuff, just sort of a little more naked, and then get it into a disposable pan or something like that that has butter and everything in there to kind of
Have you published
finish.
this?
Yeah, it's out there.
And have you read the comments? Because I'm sure there's hate mail in the comments.
We should go.
Yeah, we should
comments.
check it out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's a popular recipe. But I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see. Okay, so you are a typewriter through the center and a log roller on the side. What about you? I never asked you.
Typewriter. Yeah.
I'm a full log runner.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I find it the most efficient way to eat corn on the cob.
Now, corn on the cob is another interesting topic.
Yeah.
We lived in Ithaca for many years, where Cornell is, and their ag school has done a lot of work with hybrids. And we're not talking about GMOs, which is a whole other subject we don't want to get into. But these are hybrids. I'm a hybrid. Mother and father crossed their genes.
Sure.
These are hybrids, and they're doing those marvelous experiments. And it's like apples. There are all these wonderful new hybrids that are coming out that are just really sweet, and the best part of them is that the old saying used to be, you start the water boiling before you pick the corn.
Yes.
You can now buy some of these new hybrids, and they can sit in the fridge for a couple of days, and they don't lose their sugar.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're really sweet. I don't, aside from the one I grill them with the oil, 90% of my corn I eat naked.
Yeah.
I mean, the corn's naked.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Wait, so my only issue with some of these super sweet varieties is texture. So I think if you go back a little bit to some of the sweet varieties and before that, they had more of a creaminess to them. The super sweet varieties have a crunch, which is interesting and different, but I feel like they've lost a little bit in the translation there.
That's interesting.
But I do love that, you can buy it.
Yeah.
All week you can cook it and it's going to be delicious. Okay, so that's your corn. All right, the next one is complete the sentence for me. When life hands you lemons.
A whole variety of things are going through my head. The first thing that came to mind was the worst food I ever cooked. Okay. I made cauliflower soup with lemons in it. It was many years ago when I was just getting serious about cooking. And it was a cream of cauliflower, and I added lemon to it, thinking that would bring it to life. And I used too much, and it was just awful. We couldn't eat it. That's the first thing that came.
So when life hands you lemons, you should make a really bad cream of cauliflower soup.
No. Be careful. Be careful.
I like that.
Use it judiciously.
Yeah.
I just bought a jar of Moroccan cured lemons.
Like preserved lemons.
Preserved lemons.
Oh, so good.
I just cooked my first dish with it a couple of weeks ago, some chicken thighs. I need more work.
Yeah.
It's like my cauliflower soup. It needs work.
It needs work, yeah. I think making preserved lemons would be a great
So
thing
the
to do.
answer to your question is when life hands you lemons, be judicious and experiment carefully.
All right, I like that.
That's good.
A cautionary tale. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna be a hard one for you or the easiest question in the world. If you had to give up either steak or burgers for the rest of your life, which would you give up?
Burgers.
Yeah.
Burgers.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
agree.
too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steak every day of the week, man.
Now, when I talk to some people, I often talk about my love of lamb. And there's an awful lot of people out there who still haven't discovered lamb.
Yeah.
And that's because mom used to stew it, or it wasn't lamb, it was some old dead sheep. If you put me equidistant between a rack of lamb and a ribeye steak, which are both the same cuts, I'd die of starvation trying to decide which one to eat.
That's a better question for you. We should have set up that experiment today. I'm with you on that. A lamb burger is also. So
I do lamb burgers.
I'm actually in the burger camp.
In fact, I
would
think
give
I
up steak
prefer lamb
before I would
burgers
give up burgers, yeah.
to beef burgers. I think I prefer lamb. Yeah.
Lamb burger is so
And
good.
I do them on a pita bread with a little tzatziki sauce, maybe some chopped tomatoes. I love lamb burgers.
That sounds, they're the best. They're the best. All right, I'm going to do this one last one here for you. What is your banana ripeness preference?
Medium. I like them before they start turning black. I don't want them that sweet,
But you want some speckles on
but
there.
I don't want them green either. Maybe
Yeah.
some speckles, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a little bite to them. I always bite off that little black part on the end.
And you eat it?
it out.
No, and spit it out.
Yeah. Bite it off and
grenade.
spit it out. I don't know what's in there.
Yeah, and
I've
then
heard there's bugs in there, or worms, or
Oh, I don't-
larvae, or something.
I don't know.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's in there, but I get rid of it.
but you get rid of it.
I just saw a recipe for somebody making banana bread, and they left it in, and they were stirring it. I could see the little black floating around. I was like, get that out of there.
Get that out of there. I don't want them in bread. What about you? What's your preference?
So I will go just the stalk is still light green, but you can start to see a couple of spots on the banana. So it's got some
spots.
texture, not too sweet,
Yeah.
not too soft.
Now, let's talk plantains.
I just want to say, I think we're aligned on that. We're kindred spirits on the bananas, guys. So that's
But I'm
great.
a plantain fan.
Okay.
And, you got to fry them. You got to smash them and fry them.
Yep. I'm with you there.
There's nothing harder to peel on this planet than a plantain.
Speaking of frying,
Yeah.
I know that I'm jumping out of order here, but can I talk about something fun that's in here?
Yeah.
Everybody loves fried chicken, but nobody cooks it at home. And that's because it just makes a mess. It spatters all over the countertop, the kitchen stove, the floor, sets off the smoke alarm, and then I end up sleeping on the couch. Take a Dutch oven out to your gas grill. Turn one burner on high and set the Dutch oven on top and pour about 2 inches of oil into it. Leave the other burners off. Roll your chicken around in whatever dredge or batter you want to do and grill it on your grill. Who cares if it smokes? Who cares if it spatters? And when they're gorgeous and golden, you take them out and you lay them down on the other side of the grill where they stay warm while you put another batch in. Fried chicken, you can do it at home now any night of the week.
I love it.
Fried chicken is now a grilling dish.
You heard it here first. Meathead turned fried chicken into a grilling dish. Meathead, this has been so awesome to have you here. We could talk all day, and we're going to have you come back because I think we got some experiments to do as well. But everyone should check out the Meathead Method. It is out now. It's an incredible book. If you're interested in any of the recipes we talked about from ATK, go to the America's Test Kitchen app or americastestkitchen.com, and we'll be back next time with more in the Test Kitchen. Thanks, Meathead.